Okay, so I'm here today with Sonia, and I am stoked about what you do, and I'd love for you to share with the world right now. Tell me a little bit about your story, your why, and what you're doing in the mental health space.
Awesome, thank you. My story is a long one, so we're not going to go through the whole story. But in short, I went through some really difficult times, including injuries that were quite debilitating. And obviously, like everyone, some life events that were extremely hard to deal with. And so through all these things that happened, I've learned tools and ways to improve the way I go through life, you know, whether it's the ups or the downs. And in that journey, I've spent a lot of time really rediscovering myself and learning who I am deeply. And I feel that that's really what brought a lot of peace for me and a lot of joy and fulfillment in the end. So peeling off the layers, you know, of what's expected, the rules that we've put on, that we've accepted, and all of that. I think that that's what really led me to understand that to live a really peaceful, calm, loving, just downright awesome life, we just need to be ourselves. It's as simple as that. And so that's really what guides me, and that's deep down my why, is just helping people return to who they are. I think that's what it is for me, the authenticity quest. Yeah. And so through that, I created Women Make Wave, which is my business, my little baby at the moment. She's growing. And what I do is that I put all the things that I found were helpful for me in the same space, and I also try to empower others to complement, I guess, my skills and contribute in a way. So we do mostly retreats. We started just for women with the idea of kind of shifting this imbalance that I found there was in the world, with this heavy masculine energy and not enough of the, you know, softness energy and feminine. So we started working with women and hosting retreats for them to, you know, have a safe space to be able to listen to their voice again, rediscover it, and slowly explore who they are, explore their dreams, and just allow themselves to be, right? So that's what we started with Women Make Waves, you know, bringing all sorts of things, including surfing, including soul work, which, you know, is kind of a deeper type of work. It's a crossroad between spirituality, personal development, sports, all things that I found were helpful for me. And yeah, it's just been an amazing journey. And we're slowly opening up for men, because I've realized that the imbalance of masculinity is also true within men. So it's about balancing everything out and allowing everyone to show up as who they are, regardless of what the rules of society tells them to be, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Everything that you've said to me screams living a purpose-led life. Yeah, life with purpose. What you are setting up is a foundation, is an opportunity to help many more people. And what I really like about just that little snippet of you introducing, oh, you know, I've had all these challenges, but that's led me to now want to do something, is there were physical injuries, am I correct?
Yeah, there were physical injuries. So I broke my back surfing a few years back.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that was just before COVID, actually, interestingly. So it was back, felt better, COVID. So everything was geared up for me to really tune inwards and find the resources and the resilience and everything to go through it in a positive way, to find, you know, I guess, to find the goodness in the hard stuff.
I always say, like, when I come across people with physical injuries, like, I'm fortunate, touching wood, that I've not had a broken bone in my body, but an injury in my knee, for example, put me out of not being able to walk. And they are the worst. You have to be so patient with every single micro step of that journey. And of course, physical and mental. What I loved about you talking about the Women Make Waves is how it's a holistic picture. You know, it's not just one angle, like physically surfing can possibly expand is the right word, but to our core and our physical body, but it's mind, body, soul that gives us those strengths. So very interesting to hear.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. So with surfing, it's a mix of everything, because you're moving your body, obviously. You've got to be strong, but you've also got to learn to breathe properly. You've got to learn to calm down in case of hardship. You know, when there's a big wave coming at you and you're like, okay, you've got to make a good decision here. Or when you're held down under and you could panic, but really there's better solutions than panicking. So it's learning all these tools, and you find the parallel with life. There's stuff that happen in life that feel like you're never going to be able to breathe again, that you never be able to, you know, come up again, but you always do one way or the other. And it's just finding the tools to help you go through it in a smoother way, in a less painful way, and perhaps even a faster way.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so fascinating. And it's great to hear that although your injury was linked, you mentioned surfing, am I correct? And yet you're back on the saddle and you're making big impact with other people out in the waves. Like, that's such strength. Like, in this psychology world, a trauma counselor once spoke to me about, like, let's say it's driving. If someone's had a car accident, the longer time they wait to get back at that wheel, the harder it's going to be. But look at you jumping back in there.
And look, it was so interesting for me going through the journey of recovery as well, because I'm the type of person that's not really fearful of much. And suddenly I was literally anxious looking at the ocean. Like, I had never lived that before. So I had to understand what anxiety was really, what fear was, and how to go to overcome it. And so that's great. It brought me more tools, I guess, to help people now, because I'm a bit of a kamikaze in the way I do things. So I don't really fear going for stuff. That's probably why I broke my back in the first place. So now I've also learned in the process to be more mindful of my choices as well. So in everything that you do, there is so much gold, so much learning that you can get from it. And whether it's surfing or all the other modalities that we do with Women Make Waves, as you said earlier, it's a holistic approach. The way I see it is, you've got this problem, whatever the problem is, and if you attack it from all the angles, either at the same time or in a specific order, then you can really be, I guess, impactful in getting rid of it or learning how to deal with it.
Yeah, I hear you. And I know we spoke a little bit about this the other day, but I want to bring it back in. I'm not saying I'm against medications as treatment, because there are certainly in this mental health space the need sometimes for medications as a pathway. But I know it's often a stigma because, I don't want to reach out because I don't want medications. Well, hang on, lots of treatment doesn't involve medications. But the point I just wanted to make about you just then sharing how there's all sorts of things that we can actually do to treat the underlying behavior so that we don't have to have those actual behaviors pop up again. And that's the one gripe is I've been looking at social prescribing internationally, where you can go to a GP and get referred a 10-week exercise fitness class or 10-week art class as alternate therapeutic treatment, because sometimes people need to be linked back in with community, because the depression underlying core issue could be isolation, so I think we need to be thinking, whoever is in this space, about, well, what's the underlying core issue? We don't want to just necessarily Band-Aid, slap it on, you're fixed, you're out of here. What can we do to make more longer term change?
Fully. And it's not just, obviously there's so many things that we can do, and as you said, that medication is very useful in some cases, but in many cases it shouldn't be the first resort. There's so much more you can do. Like, you talked about sports. The reason why most people are medicated is often chemical imbalance. You can change your chemical buildup with the way you eat, the way you exercise. Like, there's other ways to influence your body, right? And influence your mind. So it's, as you said, like finding what is the core issue and then deciding with a much more informed, I guess, way, what would work. And it's trial and error, I guess, of course, for a lot of things, but there's a lot of proven ways as well,
Yeah,
whether we talk about meditation or breath work, like all these things work for certain type of people, for certain issues, and it's just a matter of figuring out which one works for you before you even get to the avenue. And obviously, you know, you got to see your psychologist, you got to see professionals, you got to see people that will help you, but there's much more than what we think. And I think also importantly, as you said, you were talking about the stigma, there's also this idea that when you see a psychologist, you're crazy, and it's absolutely not the case. It's like, you know, you go to the mechanic to get serviced, to get your car serviced, and that's how you know that it's going to run a long time. Well, it's the same with your mind or with the way you treat your body. You've got to do these things to make sure that you know, continuously take care of it.
Yeah, for sure. And speaking of stigmas, one that may not be that known to the general public is, particularly in the child and youth space, if a young person or child presents to get a mental health plan and see a psychologist, their first solution is not going to be medication. There's one of the most popular pathways currently seems to be the CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, take mind of the thoughts. I'm starting to hear more popular that physical exercise is starting to be referred as treatment, you know, so there's all sorts of options. But if we kind of like hesitate having that conversation because we fear that it could just be tipped towards clinical solutions like that, well, it's not actually the case.
And you can always speak up as well and say, look, I don't want to be medicated. Do you have other solutions?
Pathways are there? Yeah. You know? And that's such a great suggestion, because I know heaps of friends, for example, that are creative arts therapists or drama therapists. And, you know, I ask them, how do the general public access these services? Because you don't actually know that they exist if you're not, you know, asking the right questions. And often your GP wouldn't necessarily refer them through unless it's like something that has been raised. So great tip there. Now, getting back to the campaign, you've given us a wealth of information already. Just got 3 questions for you today. The first one, obviously you do a lot of surfing and physical exercise, but it is the question being, what do you do for your own mental health and well-being? Can you just share with us just one? No doubt you've got probably multiple that you use, but let's say, you know, today you wake up and it's not the best day for you. So what's your go-to option?
Yeah, look, it's a set of options, and that's something that I do whether it's a good or a bad day anyway. It's setting up your day right. So when I wake up, the first thing that I'll do is actually to go and stretch, take a deep breath while I do that. So there's a bit of breath work involved. And I don't know if you can hear the rain, but it's starting to rain here. Awesome. And meditate a little bit. And when I meditate, I visualize as well what I want to do of my day, the state I want to be in, like what emotions do I want to have throughout the day. And that's kind of my benchmark. So then if something happens that steers me away from it, it's kind of a reminder. It's like, oh, that's what I set for the day. So if it's to be calm and peaceful, whatever decision that I'll be facing, that's the word that's going to be behind. So, okay, in the choices that I have throughout the day, which one is going to bring peace, more peace than the other, and then go for that. That's basically what I do.
Isn't that beautiful? Well, which one is going to give me more peace throughout the day?
Yeah. So you pick your word or you pick your emotion and you stick with it. And it can be tough, you know, especially when you're going through some really, really hard things. And I guess one exercise in those cases I find useful for myself is, even if sometimes it doesn't feel like it's authentic almost, is just to sit down and go, okay, we're gonna do a gratitude list, like whether it's 5, 10, whatever, and just, okay, so what am I grateful for? What is in my life that has a positive impact on me, that is good? And then sometimes it just feels like you're lying to yourself because you feel so bad within your heart, you know, but keeping at it at least, you know, a few days in a row, and that's making a massive difference. It's insane.
Yeah, there's so much power to gratitude, and we've had gratitude as a suggestion come up time and time and time again, which just reinforces how powerful it is, right? Fantastic. My next question to you is coming from the place of What is your message of hope for someone? So, I mean, you've shared a little bit about your story, and I cannot imagine what it's like to have the type of physical injuries that you had. Can you remember back in those days that it could have been a day where you did struggle with it? What is one thing that you have now overcome? You've now been through that. What do you think you needed to hear then? What's a little message of hope you can share with someone who may need to hear it today?
I think the most powerful one that I can share with anyone today, and any day really, and that's something that when I was younger, I went through some really tough things personally that forced me to, grow up really fast and put me in a place where I guess I was depressed as well. I was not diagnosed, but I'm pretty sure that that's where I was. I think the important word that I really would have liked to hear, and that probably I would not have necessarily believed at the time, is everything passes. There is a cycle to everything. So there is up and there is down, and then there is up again. So when you're on the depth of down, you know you're going to go back up again. And having full faith that that's the case, it's what brings you out of it. It's like, okay, we're in darkness. We don't know where we are going. We don't know if we're going anywhere. All we know is soon there'll be light. And so, yeah, it's just trusting that it goes up and down.
Yeah.
It's a never-ending cycle, like winter and summer.
And I think that you've nailed it in terms of, sometimes we could be in that down wave. And sometimes maybe that's the last thing we want to hear, but it's one of the most important things we need to hear, is that reminder that this too shall pass.
Yeah, and equally when you're in the positive side of things, it's knowing it'll pass too. So do enjoy, do seize the moment, do be there, be present in that, because that's also a tool that then you can grab when you're in the depth of hardship, is knowing there's good times, you've felt them, so they'll come back.
Yeah, for sure. And taking those moments, like you mentioned before, for gratitude, because that's gratitude practice is a fantastic place to remember some of those beautiful moments to celebrate in life, because our brains, it's just wired sometimes to jump to those negative thoughts or those negative all the losses, and we totally forget about, well, hang on, here's what I had to celebrate. I still have XYZ that are part of me and will always be, but we need to bring it in the forefront for ourselves and for others in our network.
Yeah, and it's really a habit, and it's really a skill that you can build. Yes. So that when you're in that spot, then it becomes automatic for you to think, okay, but what's the flip side here? What are the good things that I've lived,
Here. Well, look, fabulous. I think that we've certainly got so much insights from you already today. If anyone wants to stay in contact with you, like if they want to find out more information about Women Make Waves, how do they do that?
Well, at the moment, we still don't have a website. We're working on it, but the easiest way is probably Instagram or Facebook. So Instagram is Women Make Waves _ and Facebook, I think you can just find us with Women Make Waves or Women Make Waves Retreats. I actually don't even know exactly.
We'll find the link and we'll drop it in the comments.
Just find us.
Just do some Googling.
Yeah, no, with Facebook, I'm pretty sure it's Women Make Waves Retreats, but honestly, whether it's Facebook or Instagram, it's really the same. We share the same type of contents, we share tips also regarding mental health and other stuff. So fantastic. Yeah.
And it's great to hear, yes, you're celebrating 1 year on your business journey, and it's, it's a big milestone. Lots of businesses don't last past the first few months even, but it's great to hear that you're living such a purpose-led life, and no doubt you'll be impacting many ripples of effect on those that you help. So thank you for being part of this series, and I look forward to bringing more stories to you all shortly.
Thank you.